Okay, we're back on the record in cause number 329044. The case is styled the state of Texas versus James W. Bailey. Mr. Bailey, previously you were sworn in, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Bailey, to the Class A, now this charge is a failure to identify fugitive from justice, Class A misdemeanor. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that the range of punishment is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, a fine not to exceed $4,000 of both such fine and confinement? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Bailey, prior to the court taking a recess on this case and allowing you to talk to your attorney, the court, you entered a plea of no contest, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you acknowledged that your initials was on page 2 of State's Exhibit number 1, and your signature was on page 3 of that same exhibit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And on the next exhibit, which is a trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, you acknowledge that your signature was at the bottom above the line that says defendant. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You acknowledge that you understood that this is a plea bargain case, you have no right of appeal, and that you were waiving your right to an appeal or giving up your right to an appeal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you still want to go forward with your plea of no contest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, also, there's a document out there that's titled the discovery certification. And I think you acknowledged that you had signed that document. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, and State, you also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Without objection, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Freeman, you advised in counsel, Mr. Bailey, is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Bailey, your attorney, Mr. Freeman, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bailey, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 30 days county jail.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bailey, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law. Now, the court cost in this case is $327. Will you be able to pay the court cost of $327?
I'm not, I don't have an income right now, but when I go home, yes, sir, I will be.
Well, no, I'm saying before you get out of jail, my question is, would you be able to pay the $327?
No, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Bailey, I have before me your affidavit of indigency that was signed May 3rd of 2021, May 30th of 2021, and that's what you signed at the jail. Now, Mr. Bailey,
Yes, sir.
is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Now, and have there been any changes, or everything in this document is still the same?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Bailey, you have been previously found to be indigent, and therefore the court is going to find that you are indigent, and pursuant to Article 42.15, the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, your court costs in this case will be waived. And what that basically means, Mr. Bailey, is that you would not have to pay the court costs in this case. Now, Mr. Bailey, do you understand the state's offer and the court's finding?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offers and the court's finding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bailey, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state with the finding that you are determined to be indigent pursuant to Article 42.15. The court costs in this case will be waived. Now, Mr. Bailey, as I said earlier, your sentence is 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. Mr. Bailey, please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Tanker loose, sir.
Okay.
All of those discovery certification has, number 3 and Judge Wood, so we need to change that, or they can change it. Those documents right there, that's from the county court number 3, so they're gonna put.
Oh, we know, yes, sir, changes them when we get back.
I would have did my tails, but I forgot.
We're on the record in cause number 329476. The case is styled of State of Texas versus Brandon Michael Tankersley. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tankersley, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Tankersley, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tankersley, you may put your hand down. Mr. Tankersley, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Tankersley, the information in this case alleges that on or about April 18 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault family violence. Mr. Tankersley, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Tankersley, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tankersley, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1.
Yes,
Mr. Tankersley, on page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that says check nolo contendere, which means no contest. The initials on this line are BT. Did you place your initials on this document?
yes, sir.
And on the next document, on the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Tankersley, there's a signature at the bottom of this document. That signature states, well, that signature purports to be your signature. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you have waived your right to an appeal, or you have given up your right to an appeal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the next document should be a document out there that is titled the Discovery Certification. Did you sign that document?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to signing and initialing the documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, and state you would like to also offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
Without objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Freeman, you advised in counsel, Mr. Tankersley, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Tankersley, your attorney, Mr. Freeman has advised in counsel you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tankersley, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, sir.
State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 90 days, probated over 2 years, a $500 fine, 80 hours community service, anger management, and no contact with Lori Frederick.
Okay. Mr. Tankersley, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $342. The total fine and court costs is $842. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. Now, the total amount that you would have to pay each month is $115. Mr. Tankersley, would you be able to pay the monthly installments of $115?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tankersley, you will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. You would also be required to pay a fine of $100 to the Family Violence Center in Jefferson County, Texas, attend the anger management class as a condition of your probation, and you cannot have any contact with Lori Frederick, and you would also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Tankersley, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Tankersley, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Tankersley, in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you of the following. Number 1, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number 2, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number 3, under Texas Penal Code, Section 46.013, A, firearm means any device designed, made, adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife, blade, or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is 1, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or 2, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, Unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, Unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Tankersley, this will conclude your case. You should get a copy of this order for your records. And just admonishment, Mr. Tankersley, please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on.
Right here, you? Oh, no, with that, I ain't got my glasses up, I'll try to get them out of property.
Oh, okay.
Good, let's go with it. Thank you, sir. You, sir. You'll never see me again unless I'm coming in here preaching. I'm damn embarrassed. Sir? $45. I just got a truck fee job, so I'm gonna get 3 for 1. How you running now?
Are we ready on Mr. Arline?
Well, sir, this is Michael Brown. We're doing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, this is Michael Brown?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold